What's up, guys? It's Lucas here, back with another podcast. So today's podcast is going to be answering some questions about our video we made called Shattered Trust. So basically, the start of the film starts with a guy that gets a box, and inside the box is a note, and he's kind of scared about the note, but he eventually opens it and finds a little note saying, "I'm watching you." Throughout the rest of the movie is pretty filler, but at the end it shows the murderer, and the murderer, it cuts a scene for a very dramatic cut. And overall, our idea was just create something that's short, a little entertaining, and a little suspense that just keeps you up on your toes, wanting to know what's going to happen next, or wanting to know what's going to happen in the box. It's just like a suspense. And overall, I feel like we depicted a good idea of that. So the first question says, how does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? So to answer that question, I'm going to break it down in sections. So our short film about a murder on the loose challenges conventions by dividing into the psychological complexities of the perpetrator rather than focus solely on the crimes. So basically, it's going in detail about the murder on the loose instead of going into the actual murderer. So it aims to portray a nuanced character study that explores the motivations and inner turmoil of the murderer. This approach challenges traditional narratives that often depict murderers as one-dimensional villains. So basically just in context would be understanding the actual murderer's thoughts and going into detail on that. In terms of representing social groups or issues, the film may shed light on underlying societal issues that contribute to criminal behavior, such as mental health struggles, societal pressures, or trauma. So basically, we don't know what the murderer was thinking in his mind when he entered the house or when he killed the target, but I kind of just wanted to show an overall idea of what the murderer was thinking and how he planned out the going for the kill, and theoretically speaking. The second question is, how does your product engage with audiences, and how would it be distributed as a real media text? So, to engage audiences, our short film utilizes suspenseful storytelling and atmospheric cinematography. In that, we just use a lot of camera angles and cut scenes to make it a little more dramatic and suspense. In our scene, the one where Mr. Arroyo was on the hood and I was in the car, that just kind of made it a little suspense and added some flair and kind of gave you a good understanding of the stress that I as a character was going through in the movie or in the scene. It aims to captivate viewers and draw them into a narrative through a mix of suspense, mystery, and character exploration. As a real media text, the film can be distributed through film festivals as well as online streaming platforms and social media channels to reach a diverse audience interested in psychological thrillers and character-driven narratives. So basically, in this question, it was a little confusing. So how I would expand our media would be through film festivals and social media to kind of boost if we were to actually, distribute it as a real media text. But in this case, it was just such a short film and such a small production film that we wouldn't really go further into that. But yeah, so those are the first two questions. If there's any more questions any of the podcasts would like to ask, I'm here to answer some questions. We have one more question from Mr. Dave Lankley, I see on the podcast. Okay, Mr. Dave Lankley, your question is, how did your production skills develop through this project? That's a good one. So throughout the production of this project, our team skills have evolved significantly. We have honored our abilities in script writing, directing, cinematography, editing, and sound design to effectively convey the emotional depth and intensity of the story. Because throughout the end of the story, it got very suspense with the music in the background, and overall the wit of it was very, very gloomy, and we weren't going to know what's going to happen next, which we added to the suspense. And I learned that throughout, doing research on this project and actually understanding media in general. We have also improved our collaboration and communication skills to ensure a cohesive, engaging final product that resonates with audiences. So when I gave it to my sister to review, first she didn't like it that much, but then when she really understood the whole story and watched the final cut, she really understood the idea of where we were going with the story. And I believe that just adds the depth of multiple perspectives and society views in the media. Well, that's the end of the podcast. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one.